What's up everyone, this is episode 2 of my Guild Wars 2 series. As the name of the video says, this episode will be about the combat and why it is so innovative. So just sit back, relax and enjoy the video. Also please don't forget to rate the video, comment the video and subscribe if you want to see more videos like these in the future. Thanks.
Well, we talk a lot about our combat being really active too. I think another really important thing that we're trying to do with the combat is make it social as well. And I don't know about everyone else, but I'm pretty tired of looking for groups. I'm pretty tired of homing projectiles, shooting at me, not being able to dodge out of the way, you know, and all that stuff. And I think I'm pretty tired of clicking on red bars, watching red bars go up and down, and pressing buttons and pressing 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 3 1 1 1 1 2. It's getting pretty old, and so we think it's kind of time for a change for that. And that's what the combat is all about. You know, there are different things that players need out of combat, and you know, one thing that you want is players to be able to interact with each other, to have a role in combat, and to matter. And for a long time, that role has meant I'm either a healer, I'm a tank, or I'm a DPS, and that's all I can do. In fact, in Guild Wars 2, everyone can do all those things, and we expect you to do all of them within a single fight sometimes, and certainly as you're going through the game. And that is not the role that you play. The role that you play is how you do it, and not what you do. The distinction is, look at our professions, the Guardian. You know, he's all about controlling area. He's about laying things down, making people, like, you know, move out of places, controlling the ground, you know, taking over the areas of the battlefield. The Thief, on the other hand, is the exact opposite of that. He's making you turn around, look, he's moving in, moving out. And it's a much more interesting thing to deal with making a profession choice and who you bring based on their play style and based on who you want to play with and not who you have to play with. You know, we don't want to make sure that people are playing with their friends. If you have 5 friends and you guys all want to play warriors, then you should all be able to play warriors. It shouldn't really matter. You know, it doesn't matter if you have 5 warriors or 5 guardians. The game is about playing with people who you want to play with. So the same thing with that. We talk a lot about the dodging and the active combat. You know, it's one of those subtle things that, you know, actually even at work, you know, we haven't really figured out how it all works yet. The whole shooting a projectile and guys getting in the way. You don't really realize what that means until you've played the game for a few months and you start thinking about, oh, I'm fighting these 2 creatures and I'm shooting that. Oh, I'm actually not shooting the guy in the back. This guy in front of me is in my way. These bullets are hitting him. I have to move out of the way. I have to actually do something to do what I want to do in combat. And it takes a while. I mean, you've all seen the YouTube videos. It takes a while for people to learn that. They're kind of stuck in their ways and standing around shooting. And you know, once you start to get used to the game, you realize just how different all that stuff is.
A couple things to note about our combat, as you see Matthew engaging some centaurs. Our combat, we wanted to be very much about positioning and about being in the right place and relative to where your opponent is. And to facilitate that, we have a few things like most of our abilities and skills can be used while you're moving. We wanted to do that to maintain kind of the flow of combat so that you weren't constantly held in place by things you were doing. You'll also notice Matthew dodging enemy attacks. You can dodge really simply by double tapping in any direction. You'll also see things like
Thank you so much.
You'll also see things and notice that we have no auto attack. Whenever Matthew attacks, it's because he's used a skill explicitly, and if he wants to, he can right-click a skill and it will automatically execute whenever it becomes available. But he doesn't need to do that. And we did that so that our combat would be much more immediate and feel more sort of action-y.
So I talked a little bit about how we want our combat to be very active, to be very dependent on position, and nowhere is that more true than with the thief profession. The thief profession is a very active profession that, because they don't wear heavy armor and their health, you know, they don't have the most health in the game, they need to constantly be on guard and making sure that their attacks hit for the most, as well as, you know, that they are dodging incoming damage from monsters. Thief is the first profession that we revealed that uses pistols. Sarah here has equipped double pistols, which will allow her to do some devastating attacks. You'll see that one of the things, go ahead and show some dodging, because you're taking a ton of damage. One of the things that we have, as I mentioned, we never want someone just to be standing there taking all the damage. We have dodging in the game that allows you to literally avoid attacks, avoid incoming damage. So a good player will keep an eye on when attacks are coming and be able to dodge out of them. Dodging does not come for free. You'll see on the right there's a blue energy bar. As Sarah dodges, she uses up her energy bar. So one of the things that's cool and specific to the thief profession that's very different from the other professions in the game is if you look at the 5 weapon skills here, there are no cooldown timers. Instead, a thief relies on an energy pool we call initiative to get her attacks, her weapon skills off. What this allows a thief to do is a thief has a lot more latitude to chain a bunch of attacks together if they decide, you know what, I want to do a really high damage finale. One of the ways we do this is, let's go ahead and go back to pistol pistol and show unload. Unload is a particularly powerful attack that because she's pulling off of her initiative and there's no cooldown, she can do 2 unloads back to back and really take a mob down quickly. Of course, that's a strategic choice that a thief does because in depleting all of their initiative, they're going to be vulnerable for a period of time. We could go ahead and show stealth. Obviously, one of the key things behind a thief would be their ability to stealth. Unlike other games, stealth is not unlimited in Guild Wars 2. Stealth is a very powerful ability, and so we want it to be something that players use strategically as opposed to something that they kind of is a safety net that they have on all the time. So there is, in fact, a timer on stealth. It is not unlimited. It should be used. It should be used with careful forethought. One of the other abilities that's unique to the thief profession is something we call Shadow Step, which is the ability to teleport in and out of combat quickly. And what Sarah's showing now is that she's gone ahead and switched to Dagger, which provides another very powerful skill called Leaping Death Blossom, which she did a pretty good job of using just now. Let's see. The last thing about Thief that really explains why, you know, she's called a thief is the thief has the ability to steal weapons away from the monster she's fighting and use them against her. So in the case of the Moa, she'll be able to steal a handful of feathers. You'll notice the skill bar changed. And she used them on the Moa. The feathers basically blind the Moa and stop them from attacking for a brief period of time. Oh, cool, Firewall. So Firewall is a great opportunity for us to talk about what we call our cross-profession combos. You'll notice we do not have to be grouped with any of these people. In fact, we are just ad hoc allying together because we are all after the same results in the dynamic event. We don't have to be partied together. But the cool thing about cross-profession combos is we have an elementalist who just dropped a firewall. And now, when Sarah positions her pistols and fires through the firewall, her projectiles will take on that fire damage and add additional damage to her attacks. Likewise, we talked a little bit about the Guardian. One of the cool things that a Guardian can do is lay down symbols. One of the symbols can enhance healing. The interesting thing that happens there is that if a thief were to go ahead and fire her pistols through that symbol, her bullets would carry that healing buff with them, so that any players who are near the mob when they get hit by the bullets get a healing buff. So as you can see, there's some cool kind of construction blocks to some very, very fun combat that can be done without having to be partied together. Here what we're showing is our down state. The down state, you do not die initially in Guild Wars 2. What you do is you enter a down state. From the down state, you get a new health bar, a limited health bar that starts ticking down, as well as a selection of skills that have the potential to defeat an opponent. If you are able to, in that last-ditch attempt, defeat that opponent, you will rally and spring back up. You will not go back to a waypoint to res. Likewise, one of the things that was shown just now, one of the players we were with tried to do, is revive us. The other important thing about our combat is, like I mentioned, we have no dedicated healing class. We felt it's very important that players be able to get back into the action really quickly. They don't have to sit around waiting for a healer to show up. Every profession has the ability to self-heal, as well as do some. Several of the opponents have other ways of healing their people in their group. The other thing is that players, as you'll see here, oh, maybe not, because they both got knocked down. But what you see here is a player trying to revive us. And all players can revive other players. Again, oh, they're trying. They're really trying. They're so close. Oh.
There's just a chain.
Yeah. Sometimes this is what happens.
And it came in for the kill.
But in a less difficult area, that other player would have been able to revive us. Again, it's not anything that's specific to any one profession. It keeps the combat flow going. You're not going to hit as many of these dead stops where we're like, oh, total wipe. You know, do we go back or not? No, you stay in the action.